A good question can be a game changer in your life. A good question can literally change your path. It can make you think of something you never thought before, change the direction you were headed in, and come up with an idea that had never even crossed your mind. And that's what I love about what we do at the Sisters Enchanted. We're able to take everything we're teaching, but also ask really good, meaningful questions along the way that change everything for people. And that's what we're talking about in today's episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome to today's episode of Expedition to Soul. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And who's with me today?
Hi. I always bomb this question. Hi, everybody. I'm Anna. I'm co-founder here at the Sisters Enchanted.
The sisters are in the house for this podcast episode.
In houses.
In houses. Anna, today I am going to reveal the question that led to making millions of dollars. The one question.
The one question to rule them all.
The one question that led to millions of dollars. A decision, a question, a thought that led to millions of dollars. It's a real story. It's a true story. And I'm not going to tell it right now, though. So you're going to have to wait towards a little bit to hear that story, because I want you to know about the power of questions and our reaction to them and our permission to answer them, so that unexpected results happen.
True that. Yeah.
True that, homie. So Anna is, if you don't know Anna, she's been lurking behind the scenes, mostly because she has a 3-month-old baby. And also you can see Anna often in our membership and our mastermind communities. But one of the things we do specifically in our small groups and when we work one-on-one with people is ask really good questions. True, Anna?
True. Yes. Because, we all here at the Sisters Enchanted, us folk here, are life coach trained. And so we ask lots of good questions because that's how you do your best help, is by asking really good questions so that you can receive really good answers.
What's the difference, do you think? Like, now that I'm saying it, like the answers in the question, but when people need something and you offer like an opinion or advice versus asking a thoughtful question, like what's the difference in that conversation?
Well, you're like, oh, well, the answer's in the question. And I'm like, oh, I hope I don't miss it. It doesn't like fly by my head. Well, when you give advice, you're like telling people what they should do. Yeah. And it's hard to you can lead a horse to water. When you're giving people your opinion, you're just giving an opinion. When you ask them a question, they come up with the answer themselves. They're much more empowered to act on that statement than they are when you tell them to do something. It's like a little kid. When you directly tell them no, not to do something, they are like, I'm gonna do that. But if you redirect in a way that empowers them, they're more likely to do that thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Less a tantrum.
Mm-hmm. So asking thoughtful, even asking questions of yourself, like, why do I feel this way? What am I so afraid of? Why am I feeling nervous right now? What's the worst that could happen? What's a more helpful thought I can think about this? Right. Just learning to ask yourself really good questions is very powerful. And also having people around you who can ask those good questions, like the question that led to millions of dollars. But I'm still not going to tell you what it is yet. Anna and I were talking before we got started about some of the questions that people have asked us. And this is not exactly in alignment with the kinds of questioning we're talking about, but it's a really good reminder, though, that you have the power to answer questions, in ways that change your life. So my example of this, and I remembered it because of Anna, when I graduated from college. I was an English major and I minored in psychology and sociology. So I did not do there was not a need for me to be really good at Microsoft Excel at that time because I didn't use it. And so I got a job, or I was offered a job as a buyer at this company. And one of the questions was around like my ability to use Excel. Because at the time they used it like in like all of their systems, everything was tracked in Excel. It was actually like a small nightmare, but I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I didn't know how to do that. And on the way home, I stopped at Barnes and Noble and bought Excel for Dummies and spent the whole weekend teaching myself how to use Excel. And now I think I'm fairly decent at spreadsheets. But like, it was a question, and the question could have been like, I could have easily have said, oh no, I'm not qualified. But knowing enough about myself to know, like, I'm pretty sure I can pick this up. It's going to be fine. Right. So I think that the other part of asking questions, when you get asked a good question or you're asked a question, is your confidence in answering, So Anna had a similar experience. I should too, but one involves vomit and one doesn't. So I don't.
Well, now you spoiled it. I mean, well, yes, years ago, I used to be an orthodontist assistant, which fun fact about me. And I, did all this stuff to have like a dental x-ray certificate, which was a fun time in my life. But there was a bunch of applicants that day and I really needed the job and the money that the job like came with. And they were like, last question, are you afraid of blood or vomit? And I was like, no. And they were like, you're the first person that answered no today. So I got the job on the spot because everybody else said they were afraid. And lo and behold, you did come across a lot of blood and vomit in that job. And I was not afraid of it. So good on me. But more importantly, when I was working in the like health industry, we needed a buyer for all of our health and wellness supplements. And in order to be a buyer for health and wellness supplements, one, you had to buy and spend lots of money. And two, you also had to be able to support customers in their shopping in support of their health and wellness. So having like supplement knowledge, herbal knowledge and things like that. And the owner walked by me and I was like, hey, I can do that job, because he posted a post on the door. And I was like, hey, I can do that job. I was just, ringing people out at the time. And he was like, know anything about buying? And I was like, sure. And he was like, do you know anything about health and wellness? I was like, yeah. And he went, can you learn about health and wellness in like the next 2 weeks? And I went, absolutely. And he went, got it. He's like, you got the job, and took down the posting. And I did learn all things about health and wellness in a matter of no time, and proceeded to help people in their lives for the next many years.
Yeah. So I think like
with that, if I didn't like say like, absolutely, I can do that. Absolutely.
Right. So I think that's the other part of this that I wasn't even planning to talk about here, because I was going to talk about questions, but your ability to answer questions and answer them in a way that's scary, and say, I believe in myself that I can rise to the occasion. So in our example, we're talking job interviews because we happen to have that in common, which is really interesting. I never even considered the fact that you and I both had early experience as buyers spending other people's money, which I wonder if that's what makes me so not averse to spending money on the Sisters Enchanted, even though that's like my money being spent, but maybe just that experience of knowing like that you had, like you do that. Anyway, I just now had that moment of realization. And Anna can fix your braces. Yeah. And I can fit you for a bra, because that was a job that I once had. Yeah. Weird. We've got a lot of stuff.
I can fix your braces and work my way around taking and looking at an x-ray.
We have so many weird things in our back pockets.
We do.
Have skills, will stay employed. Anyway,
absolutely, I can do that job.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me a second. But I think that that's the other part, though. With any good question, you have to have the confidence to answer that question. And in these examples, it's like, yes, I'm confident in my ability to learn these things. But there's also like, if somebody asked you, what are you afraid of? What's your worst thing that could happen in this example. Or a question that I asked in a group session last night is like, what's the cost of success? So if you actually meet your goal, there's always a cost to achieving a goal, even whether it's you have to leave your old state of being, or like you get a new job, that means you have to say bye to your old job. And it's uncertain whether or not you're going to like the new job. Like maybe you buy the house and that was your goal, but there's a cost to that. Now you're a homeowner, which is, that's a lot of responsibility. So there's always a cost to success too. So I think that, not being afraid to answer questions is the other half of this, the other side of the coin, asking good questions, but not being afraid to answer them. All right, Anna.
Sarah.
You already know the question, but do you think it's time for me to reveal Vanna White and spin the tile around with the question that made millions of dollars?
I think that if the listeners got past blood and vomit, I think we owe it to them.
Braces, bra fittings.
To tell them of the $1 million question.
I will tell them this. But also, it just occurred, I think this is just so random, that Anna's buying experience was in health and wellness. Mine was for a company that made airplane seats. True story. So I bought the foam and like the fixings and the glue to make, so people could make airplane seats.
It's needed.
A whole company that just did that, just made the airplane seats and then sold them to the airplanes, airplane people. Anyway. So I'm really good at ordering buns of foam. That's what they come in, buns. All right. The question that made millions. It was circa 2015. And I was working on bringing I owned a different business in education, and I was working on bringing it online and developing a business called Study Skills School, which I still own the URL for. So maybe one day there will be a Study Skills School. Don't let Anna's husband hear that. He's the tech guy. He'll be like, no. Or maybe he thinks Sarah's wild ideas mean job security for me. Keep them coming. I'm not sure what he's thinking. He's sitting off to the side though, so he's thinking something. Anyway, so I was working and I built like the website for Study Skills School, all of this. And I had experience in creating an in-person business and working with people in person, but not taking it online and reaching people, the masses. So it was a small group of there were no more than 10 of us in this group of women. And we were sort of working together in a program to figure this out. And the person who was leading that program was asking me, she heard me talking about it. And she was like, I can see you're passionate about doing what you do, like helping kids. But I also can tell that it's a lot. It's draining. I can tell you don't necessarily this isn't lighting you up. And I was like, no, that's true. But I have a master's in education. It's what I've been doing. So why would I do something different? It's what I know. I'm an expert at it and I can help so many people. And she looked at me and she asked me, but what would you do if the only thing that mattered was having fun with it? And that was such a wild question because you do the things you do, right? I went to school to be a teacher and then I ended up self-employed through a series of twists and turns, but still working with kids and then adults with learning differences or, needing help with organization and whatnot. And why would I do something different? I spent all this money on a master's degree. This is what I do. I have clients. Why would I take into consideration what would you do just because it'd be fun? What would be fun for you to do? So she asked me that and I was like, I don't know, teach tarot on the weekends with my sister. And then it wasn't I don't know. It was very shortly after that the Sisters Enchanted, Anna and I talked about it. We were like, what would be fun? We just kept asking that question. What would be fun for us to do? And we had some ideas. We both had little kids, real little kids. My daughter was only 18 months old. Anna's son was a toddler. And her first son. Anna's got 3 kids, which in my head equals like 1 million children, but there's only 3 of them, which is weird because I have 2 and one's not that many more, but that like 1 more seems like so many more.
Outnumbered.
Yeah, totally outnumbered. And anyway, we just like thought like what would be fun. And Anna called me on her lunch break one day and was like, The Sisters Enchanted, that's our name. And I bought the URL, the domain name that night, and never stopped having fun. And that question right there was the seed that created the Sisters Enchanted. And we have reached thousands of people online, over 300,000 people since 2016. We've had like 10,000 people buy programs from us, 1,000 people in our Holistic Witchery program, which is open for registration right now. So check that out, holisticwitchery.com. There's my shameless plug. And we've generated millions of dollars in revenue. And of course, someone's going to hear that and think like, this is so much money. When you own a business, it's actually not that much money because if you're in our programs, you know how deep our teaching team is. Everybody gets paid. We have a back end team, all of our tech, all of our software, everything. So taxes, lest we forget taxes. But that one question, that one good question, what would be fun right now? What could you do if fun was the only thing to consider and nothing else? And that asking that question led me to think a new thought that led to changing the lives of thousands of people, our family, and generating millions of dollars. So that is the $1 million question. How did that? Yeah. So someone asked me that question, but like Anna, your life was completely changed too, because you, of course, I dragged you along with Anna worked in her other job full time for the first 3 years of the Sisters Enchanted. But when the time came for you to quit your job, I mean, those questions came up again where you were like, is there enough money? Like, am I going to be able to support myself? And it was really like, well, what's the worst that could happen? You know?
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ripped the Band-Aid, well, mostly for my sanity and health and well-being. And then I was like, here we go. But it was also really great because it was more in alignment too with what kind of like life I wanted to lead. You know, I have one son that's older and I wasn't able to be home and be like the mom of the house when he was little. And I always felt really bad about that. And being able to jump in. So like what sounded like fun for me was like being like working with my sister and being home with my kids. That sounds like fun. And that was, you know, that's what it was a big change for me too. It wasn't like Sarah and I premeditated me coming to work, like coming in full time.
It happened really fast.
I feel like literally middle of the night.
For anybody who doesn't know us, doesn't know any background too, just like how this happened, that the idea came and you came up with the name, we started together, but you didn't work here full time for the first 3 years. I will add that I was already self-employed when we started the Sisters Enchanted. So I was already used to not having predictable income. Like I was already used to being like, am I getting paid this week or not? I'm unsure. Like I fell into self-employment by accident. And then I did run the Sisters Enchanted, like started building it for 1 year while I ran my other business at the same time. And then, so the first year I ran both my other business and the Sisters Enchanted, with Anna singing backup whenever she could, coming in to help, being right there. And, but Anna did have a full-time job where she, you know, like went to work where I was already self-employed. So that's how it ended up being the way it was. And then after 1 year, I had my second child right at our 1 year anniversary of the Sisters Enchanted. I let go of the other business. And then for 2 years, kept running it until I was like, one day it was clear that it was time for Anna to leave her other job. And it was nerve-wracking. And, but she did it and has worked here, you know, ever since just here. So, but that one question though, without that question, and I will say though, without my willingness to answer the question and believe in myself to follow through with the answer, none of this would have happened. And it's the same, like in that job interview, do you know Excel? Well, I know enough about myself to know that I'll know it by Sunday. And Anna, do you know, like, health, can you do this job? Well, I know myself enough to know that 2 weeks from now, I'll be the best there ever was at it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and well, for me, and I'll say it quick, that like me, and if you know me and you've been around the Sisters Enchanted for a long time, I'm definitely a second guesser. And I think back to those 2 times when somebody challenged me, like, can you do this? Because learning how to be an orthodontist assistant and read x-rays and like learn how to do all of the things was a lot to learn. And I learned it really fast and I was really good at it. And then the same thing with the health and wellness. I was like, I can do this. And I learned it really fast and I was really good at it. But for me to actually to look at somebody and say, absolutely, I could do that is a surprising character change of events for me. But that when I believe that I can do it, then I do it.
Yeah. Well, so I passed my $1 million question on to all of you. What would feel like fun right now if nothing else mattered? And if you're thinking to yourself, but everything else does matter. It mattered for me too. My husband was self-employed. I was self-employed. We lived paycheck to paycheck, dollar to dollar, toddler, getting ready for another baby, no health insurance. It definitely mattered to me. And also having the right support people, the right person to ask you that question, and the confidence in yourself to answer and then believe in your ability to follow through with the thing that you said. And if you feel like you just can't do that, well, that's what we're here for. We can help you with that in Holistic Witchery. So it's open for registration. I'm asking you, what would feel like fun? It would feel like fun if you joined us in Holistic Witchery. Plot twist. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So yeah, some things to think about today, but there you go. I revealed it. The question that made millions of dollars. And with that, more importantly, changed so many lives, the lives of our community members, the people who teach here, the small businesses that we're able to support every month because we pay everybody who is, teaches and is on our team. And we put more money in more women's pockets by giving them a home to help spread the magic here at the Sisters Enchanted. And that's been the biggest cool thing that there is.
And it's pretty cool.
It's very cool. All because of one question. All right. Well, that is it for today's episode of Expedition to Soul. If you want more information on Holistic Witchery and joining us over there, it's at holisticwitchery.com. You will also find the links, all around this. You can email us, find it on social media. It is not hidden, that's for sure. Should you seek the information, you will find it because we will have it everywhere. But yeah, we'd love to welcome you in. We've got a fully revamped curriculum, easier than ever to complete it and find success in it and get just that one nugget of information that changes everything for you. One nugget. Anna, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Sarah, thanks for having me.
Always. All right. Until next time, we hope that you have
an enchanted
rest of your day ahead. Bye. Holistic Witchery is a coming home to yourself. Holistic Witchery is an online course. Holistic Witchery is a community, and Holistic Witchery is life-changing. A little bit of personal development and a very heavy dash of magic makes this course different than anything else you will find out there. Our community is top-notch, our support is top-notch, and what you will learn about yourself along the way will surprise even you. When we think about the community members who participated in Holistic Witchery, we are proud to say that the aha moments, the feedback, the deep change, the life awareness that comes, the self-awareness, the soul alignment that comes from participating in Holistic Witchery is absolutely awe-inspiring. What you'll have are pre-recorded videos, you'll have live video support in the form of group gatherings, you will have printables and worksheets and prompts, and you will have a whole community of magic makers just like you to walk alongside you on this journey. There is not one right person that Holistic Witchery is for. Holistic Witchery is for you if you're a stay-at-home mom. It's for you if you're retired. It's for you if you are a person who works 3 jobs and is burning the candle at both ends. It's particularly for you if that's the case. Holistic Witchery is for you if you love the word witch and if it makes you shiver a little and you're not quite sure what to make of it. Holistic Witchery is for everybody. And there is something here that every single person can learn and grow from. And we can't wait to see which little bit of Holistic Witchery is that thing for you. Welcome home, Magic Maker.
Thank you to everyone. Sisters Enchanted has changed my life inside and out.
And I just wanted to be here to be here for everyone else and support them, and I don't know, just sharing there in the celebration. That's all.
I was like, well, you want to tell them how I've changed since this? But yeah, no, just thank you guys so much. I'm still a jumbled mess, but I think I'm a little less of a jumbled mess since I started this. And it's really cool to see that I have more potential than I thought I did. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you
so much.
Now we have a home. At least that's what I feel. So again, I just wanted to tag on to that one that a lot of us don't have a lot of friends and we're doing our own thing. And like I said, I don't care what the rest of the world thinks. I got friends here. So thank you guys again. I love you all.
I think each person comes here and takes away something with them. And for some people, it's more of the mindset stuff. For some people, it's more of like soul, goddessy, priestessy, like good juicy stuff. For some people, it's learning tarot and astrology, and they feel like it's very different. But I think it's very interesting to me how it's one thing, and to each person, it's something entirely different.